Welcome to the Realty Rundown, the podcast that cuts through the noise of the real estate world. Your hosts, seasoned industry experts Nick and Nate, are here to guide you through the entire process. Each week, they're breaking down the latest market trends, decoding complex jargon, and sharing insider secrets you won't find anywhere else. Whether you're buying your first home, selling a property, or building an investment portfolio, we provide the clear, actionable advice you need to make your next move your best move.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Realty Rundown from the Nick Wyse team. I am Nick Wyse.
And I'm Nathan Schwartz. And Nick did not fire me. I'm still here. I'm back. It's been a bit, but I'm still here.
I keep Nate in a dungeon in a cage down there, and we bring him out when we need him.
That's right. Someone please help.
Yeah, send help. You don't do that. This is being recorded. Oh, man. Guys, so last week I was obviously talking to you about housing legislation that we were advocating for when I was out in Washington, D.C. Well, today I want to move to the side of that a little bit and focus on a very specific proposal that I think has a ton of potential, not just nationally, but very much right here in north central Indiana. And it's called the RESIDE Act. It was proposed by Senator Banks, who is one of our Indiana senators. So that's cool. We give a big thumbs up to Banksy for doing that. Banksy, I don't know if he's the same guy that did all the art. Nate, if you're familiar with Banksy, the artist at all?
Nope.
You got to look this guy up, dude. He's done some of the weirdest stuff. I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but the guy once sold a painting at like auction for like $2 million or whatever it was. Yeah. And then he had it set up so as soon as the auction was over, somebody pushed a button somewhere and it like shredded it.
Yes. Okay. I'm looking it up now. Yeah. Yes. I remember seeing this. Yes.
I love it, dude. I love it. And like nobody knows who this guy is. Like he's like totally in there. Okay. Well, that is not our senator. Different guy. Please do not get confused. I don't know why I called him Banksy, but now I feel like I have to call him Banksy from here on out. So Banksy's new act called the RESIDE Act, if it becomes law, it could literally transform empty office buildings, old warehouses, hotels, other underused or unused commercial properties into much needed housing.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw you a softball question here. What exactly is the RESIDE Act?
I love a good softball, man. So, yeah, it seems like such a simple concept because across the country, and especially here again in north central Indiana, we have two problems that are happening at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. Massive housing shortages, which we just got done talking about with this new legislation that is still actually sitting on Trump's desk as of now, as of this recording. It's still sitting on Trump's desk, and so he's dragging his knuckles or his feet, maybe both. On this, I'm going to get some hate mail for that. But yeah, he's not signing it yet because he's got other priority issues that he's pushing into the front. But what this does, it helps solve that housing shortage and also uses these vacant commercial buildings that just sit empty and they're ugly, they're a blight, they're an eyesore, not doing anybody any good. So we're trying to connect these two problems and instead of letting them occur, kind of help communities redevelop them into housing.
Yeah, so I have to ask, if this makes so much sense, why aren't developers already converting these old buildings?
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about this because it has happened, but it happens on such a minutia scale because it's incredibly expensive to do this. I can tell you right now, I've got a commercial building in downtown Elkhart where people have looked at it and they're like, this would be amazing if we could put apartments up here in the upper level of this. Right now, it's not economically feasible to do that because of plumbing issues, electrical issues, fire suppression is a huge one and way more expensive than I thought. Windows, obviously adding windows into these old brick buildings, and then just accessibility, like elevators. How do you get people up there? You can't have just one stairwell going up like you kind of can or could in a commercial building. And by the time you're adding up all these costs, it just doesn't math, right? The math doesn't math. So the RESIDE Act aims to help bridge that gap so more of these projects can actually get off the ground.
So please tell me that the federal government is actually going to come out here and swing some hammers and build these buildings on their own.
Trump himself promises, if this passes, to swing hammers and lay shingles. Right. Maybe not in that order. I'm not sure, but I can't wait to see it. I would vote for this. Just no, he's not doing that. I don't think anybody wants the federal government becoming a developer on their own, right? They're doing enough other interesting things right now. But what the bill does is basically creates a competitive grant that states and local communities can apply for. And again, it's not just one entity. Well, we'll get a little bit more into this, but basically the funds can help redevelopment projects possible by creating local governments that can apply for it as well. They still get to make their local government decisions. Mm-hmm. Private developers are involved and they still build the projects. So it's really about blending those two things. And the money, yes, it does come from federal grants, but that's kind of the end of their involvement in it.
Yeah. So do we have, I mean, is this happening already in Indiana? I kind of faintly remember something about Fort Wayne, but yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, so this is one of the more exciting things. When I was in DC, one of our Fort Wayne constituents actually stood up and gave some examples that I wasn't even familiar with. So I wrote them down. Fort Wayne has kicked butt on this. They're way ahead of the curve. And they've taken what they call the Randall Lofts in downtown Fort Wayne. This is a building that's sat underutilized for many, many years. Now these upper floors where nobody was in, they've been transformed into loft apartments. The first floor continues to serve commercial businesses. So exactly like the one that I've got over in Elkhart. It's exact same scenario. It's a bigger building here, but yeah, the same scenario where like there's 10,000 square feet in Elkhart, which would be awesome if developed, but it's not feasible to do that right now. So they've also got their Anthony Wayne building. It was an empty office building, and now it's been redeveloped into a mixed use. So it's got residential units, it's got offices that are reinvigorated, and it's got retail space. Because these projects, they bring people back into these downtown areas. And they actually, it's not just for housing, they support local businesses. They still help preserve the historic architecture. Again, that building that I've got for sale in Elkhart, 223 South Main Street, Elkhart. Go buy it. It's a really cool building. If you're driving down Elkhart, you'll notice it because it's different than anything else.
Yep.
And it wouldn't change the facade at all. You know, there would be windows upstairs where there actually used to be windows and they got bricked over. But other than that, it's not going to change the historic nature of that. So basically, think about it like creating housing without developing more farmland, right? Nobody wants to see the farm next door, 80 acres, get turned into a data center. I mean, a subdivision. That's another episode. So it's just like it's winning all the way around. I really love it.
Yeah, it's true. I love this concept. I'd much rather see a building brought back to life rather than sit empty for another couple of decades.
Yeah, and because that's what's going to happen, right? Like if this kind of legislation doesn't pass, no one's going to take the money and lose money to go in and do these things. So these buildings are just going to sit there. But yeah, again, I love the idea of like bringing people in, creating this apartment. This might sound super cheesy, but I kind of get this image of Friends, the old show Friends, where they like live upstairs. Yeah. And then downstairs, they got their coffee shop, right? They got maybe some retail spaces.
Yep.
Because I mean, honestly, when you move people into these buildings, you create businesses that want to invest in those as well.
Yep. So let's bring this home, closer to home here. I mean, how does this benefit our area like Elkhart County?
Yeah, I think like more than almost any other area, we've got these old buildings that are just sitting there. I mean, definitely downtown Elkhart. Downtown Goshen has some, and they've actually done a little bit of this in Goshen. We're not going to go real too deep into that because I think that project got a little astray, in part because, from what I understand anyway, they couldn't really finish it. So they've got a building over there that they tried to revitalize and put some lofts in, and the money ran dry, and so it's just not maybe being managed as well as it could be. But there's definitely buildings like the one I've got where the upper floor is sitting vacant, or we've got these huge old manufacturing spaces that are sitting empty because the manufacturers have built new spaces outside of town because they want to have more ease of transportation and, of course, to increase the modernization of their processes. So imagine if we could like take these big buildings and convert them into apartments or condos, and just the huge increase of inventory, as we talked about on the last episode, 20,000 housing units short just in Elkhart County. So if we can just bridge that gap a little bit, just, I mean, 100 units at a time, maybe that's two, even if it's 10 units at a time,
right?
Progress. It's getting there. So this is the type of legislation that encourages change.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, overall, we were talking about the housing shortage. I'm assuming, again, probably won't solve the housing shortage. It's going to help, but likely won't solve it.
Yeah. And a lot of these would either be apartments or condos, right? So you still got single family homes, which most people want. It's not going to obviously build new subdivisions on the same footprint. So we definitely still need the builders constructing homes. We need the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, which we talked about last week, which is sitting on your desk, Donald Trump. Sign that bad boy. It's non-veto. You can't even veto it, Donald. Sign it. Let's go. We still need all those things. So it's just really another tool in the toolbox is what we've got here. So reusing what we already have. Can we do that? Sometimes the answer is yes. This is how we get there.
Yeah. So kind of going back to, I guess, the budgeting side of things, whenever the government announces they're going to be bringing a new program or they want to bring a new program, one of the questions always asked is, well, who's paying for it or how's it getting paid for?
Yeah. And the people definitely ask that question. And I will tell you from meeting with our legislators out there, they ask that question every time. It's usually the first thing on their mind is, where's this money coming from? And the nice thing is the RESIDE Act doesn't just write checks to developers. They're not just getting money and then they get to go do whatever they want with it. Communities have to apply for these competitive grants, and it already exists. The money is kind of already there through existing HUD programs. And the developer is still investing their own money. The city is still having to decide if this project makes sense for the location that they want to put it in. So the goal is really to help simply bridge and make these projects that wouldn't otherwise pencil out. They wouldn't be financially possible. This makes them financially possible. And again, I got to give props to Fort Wayne. They did this, without this federal program in place, and we can do this here too. State legislature, could talk about doing this. If it doesn't pass through in DC, we can do this on a state level. We can do it on a local level, because that in Fort Wayne was actually a combination of private investment. It was tax credits, and there was city participation, redevelopment incentives. So yeah, they all got together and made this happen. And that's still what would happen even if this was a federal program. So again, this is just another tool. This is an option. And it's one that could probably speed things up throughout the state a lot quicker than if we just go to each different municipality and ask them to get their own program.
Yep.
So, yep. All right. Nate, any other questions for us?
I think that's it.
Hey, man, it was great to have you back on this week. I know you've been crazy busy with work and with life. So I appreciate you making the time. Yeah, definitely a shout out.
It does feel good to be back.
Yes, there you go. How sweet it is. All right. Yeah, guys, that is a wrap for today's episode. Just remember, as always, Nick knows.
Nate knows.
Yes, he does. And when you've got real estate questions, we've got wise replies. Folks, we will see you next time.
See you guys.
And that's a wrap on another episode. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you had as much fun as we did. We love sharing real estate insights, but as you can see, we also love to have a good time. This energy and passion is what we bring to every client. Buying or selling a home is a huge deal, but it doesn't have to be stressful. With the right team, it can even be fun. Ready to make your move? Let's connect.